A man is dead after Charlotte County deputies say he pointed a gun at his neighbors last night, and when deputies got there, he pointed a gun at them too. This happened along Eager Boulevard. NBC2 was all over this breaking news last night at 11. Tonight, NBC2's Alexia Teropoulos is live at the scene with some new information on what exactly happened.
Yeah, Peter, that's right. We are now able to see the front of the house. Just an hour ago, crime scene tape was taken away. I'll step out of the way so you can see exactly what we're seeing here tonight. There looks to be a bullet hole right through the front door there. This is where deputies say they killed Michael Schwartz, right here on this porch.
Multiple 911 calls from neighbors in the 2600 block of Eager Road in Punta Gorda, reporting a male subject walking up and down Eager Road, waving a handgun in the air and discharging it multiple times, yelling, "Where are the cops at?"
Neighbors calling for help as their neighbor threatens them.
Reports were made of this subject pointing the firearm at several people in the neighborhood.
Deputies saw Michael Schwartz sitting right here on this porch on Eager Road with his dog Leona. He then pointed his gun at them.
Two deputies fired multiple times from their issued firearms, striking the suspect. Life-saving measures were provided by deputies on scene, and EMS arrived on scene, and Schwartz was pronounced dead.
When we show up, it's usually the last resort, and unfortunately, they've gone down that path of mental health decline.
Jerry Connolly has been behind the badge for 30 years. Although he is not involved in this case, FSW's police chief has witnessed several officer-involved shootings over the years.
90% of them, you officers walk away with a feeling of guilt and regret, and they just felt like they could have done something more in that situation.
He says officers are meant to serve and protect. The last thing they want to do is take someone's life.
It sticks with you for the rest of your life. I can assure you that.
Officer-involved shootings are very complex, he says. Investigations take even longer to solve.
The agency has to conduct an internal investigation to see if there is any policies or procedures that were violated during this event as well. So it's basically almost 3 investigations going on at the same time.
Investigators are working to find out what led Schwartz to do this and if he wanted deputies to shoot him. Now, this is still an ongoing investigation. You can count on NBC2 to bring you the latest. I'm here along Eager Drive in Punta Gorda. Alexia Teropoulos, NBC2.
We are starting off the 6 o'clock hour with breaking news.
Yeah, we are just getting some breaking news into our newsroom regarding Kershaw County Sheriff's Office, who says a standoff has ended in a suspect's death.
Deputies say they responded to a domestic dispute call in the Ashley Creek subdivision at about noon today, and during that investigation, the suspect did show a gun to the victim and to a deputy.
Deputies say they then immediately pulled the victim to safety as the suspect barricaded himself inside that home.
Negotiations were made on multiple attempts to communicate with the suspect. They say the standoff lasted about 3 hours. Unfortunately, it was not successful. After an arrest warrant was issued, the special response team did enter the home and found the suspect dead.
We also know this Thursday evening that SLED is investigating this incident, so we'll be sure to update you both on air and online at WLTX.com.
We're following the story this morning. The Davidson County Sheriff's Office, it's investigating after a woman was found with multiple gunshot wounds. We've learned new details. Deputies say the 75-year-old victim was shot by her 95-year-old husband. She was found in a vehicle at a home on Bald Cypress Road in northern Davidson County. She is in critical condition, but deputies say her husband barricaded himself inside that home and was later found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The sheriff's office says there is no danger to the community. Deputies will be in the area for a longer period of time and are asking people to avoid that area.
With 19 News coming to you from our digital desk. We've got some breaking news out of Alliance. There was a shooting this morning at about 7:40. Police were called to an apartment complex there. When they got there, there was a woman who had already been shot. She would die at the scene. It does appear that police then had to get into a shootout or at least shot at the suspect in the apartment building. Both died. The woman succumbed to her injuries after being shot. Apparently apparently by the man in the apartment, and then the suspect here was shot by police and he died. Let's listen to a live interview being done by our Brittany.
We have the preliminary information and the information we can't release yet.
Was the suspect the male or the female?
The suspect was the male. The victim was the female.
Residents here?
The female was a resident here. We are unsure of the male's actual residency at this time, if it was a relationship, family member, or things like that.
And for the deceased, did the police fire the gun and shoot the male or the female?
The male.
And the male shot the female?
Yes.
Has the male had contact with the Alliance Police before?
I don't know of all of his contacts or with the Alliance Police Department. I believe that at one point he was at least an Alliance native. I'm unsure what his status has been over the years.
Do
you know the ages of the victim and the suspect yet?
I don't.
Have you had any prior reports involving either of them?
Not as far as I know, but we've not gotten that far into it yet.
Do we know how many rounds were fired?
I don't.
Is there a motive that you can say?
I don't know if we have the motive established yet, or what the circumstances which led up to it.
Officers involved, how many?
We have 4 officers that are being placed on leave. Only 2 of the officers were involved directly with the shooting.
Will all 4 finish their shift today, or all go home?
No. So all of our officers have been on paid administrative leave at this point, which is just the progress of these investigations. And they could be back anywhere from 3 days to longer than that, depending on the investigation.
Did it take place in an apartment in the hallway?
This took place on the 5th floor inside the hallway.
So basically, they get off the elevator. Suspect is firing shots at the victim.
I believe the shots were being fired, and that's about all I can tell you. That there was gunfire before our officers engaged him.
Do we know if there was an argument, anything that led up to this?
We don't. We just got the call that there was a female shot, and as our officers got off the elevator, there was a male up there saying he just shot her. It was even directing us to that, and then gunfire was still going on.
So I just want to clarify, was this male shooting at the officers?
I don't believe so. There were shots being fired, but whether he was shooting at them or missing or shooting the victim, I can't get into that yet.
How many officers fired shots?
2.
2 officers fired shots?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know how many times the victim was hit? Or...
No, we don't have any of that stuff yet. As a matter of fact, I believe the coroner is here or just recently here. This is still evolving as we're speaking.
Any other agencies involved with the BCI and Alliance?
No.
Do we know why the officers, obviously that's the investigation, what led them to fire their shots?
I don't have an answer for that at this time that I can tell you guys.
And both the victims died on scene?
Yes, they were both pronounced here at the incident itself.
Do you know the time frame that they were here from 7:43 to?
Our officers or the suspect and victim?
Officers.
Our officers, it was, I believe, within 90 seconds they were engaging the suspect. Yes.
Nobody else injured? No one else?
No one else in the apartment. Nobody. There was no rooms hit. It was down a long hallway, and at the end of the hallway was an emergency stairwell, which nobody resides in, and contained all of the gunfire.
So officers get off the elevator. Suspect is firing the gun. Unclear where the suspect is firing the gun.
Just down at the hall. We knew where he was based on the person on the elevator, and they were able to direct their attention that way. And gunfire was continuing to go on, and that's why the officers engaged. Within 90 seconds of our officers getting on the elevator, they were engaging him. I mean, it was an elevator ride up, and then a few seconds after getting off the elevator, it unfolded very quickly.
Quick.
Yes.
And then from there, both are deceased. It's unclear who. So suspect shot victim. Officer shot suspect.
Correct. And our response to the call was that we had a female victim that was already shot.
So so you got a call saying a victim was shot.
Correct.
Was she alive at the time when the officers arrived?
I believe so. Yes, and that's about all I can say on that.
Could the officer see the female victim?
She was laying in the hallway.
Oh, she was laying in the hallway.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you recall the last officer-involved shooting in this area?
We had an officer-involved shooting. I believe it was fall of 2023, and that was involving a hostage taker.
And you guys aren't calling this domestic, right?
Not yet. I don't know if that's clear enough that that's what it is.
Is it okay? So it's not clear if it's a domestic.
It's a male and a female, and we're still establishing relationship, who was with who did what, why. We came to the shots fired. A female was already shot at that point and was asking for help, and our officers engaged him while she was on the ground, and
He was still shooting.
Correct.
Did she ask the police officers directly for help? Was she able to communicate with the police officers?
I've not listened to the 911 call yet, so I don't know.
Are you guys releasing any 911 calls, body cam footage, anything else we can get today?
We will, but I don't know when.
Okay.
Was it the female who called 911?
I don't know. I believe it was, but I'm not positive of that. Again, this is how we're still. Yeah, I've been shooting out emails, getting press releases, trying to edit video. So we're trying to get all of the things in order so we can give you guys all a fair and accurate package of what happened.
Floor still closed off?
Yes.
How long will it be closed off?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's going to be mostly up to BCI.
What are you guys telling residents? Are you letting them go to their apartments?
I believe at least half of it is. So the elevators kind of run slightly off the middle, and this happened all the way at the very end of the hallway. So it's a lot of distance that our officers had to go down that way.
We don't have a distance. 90 feet, 100 feet?
No, sir.
Okay. But around that elevator, I'm assuming the officers had their guns drawn when they came off the elevator, right?
You're assuming? And you're asking me if you're right? Yes.
Were their guns drawn? Were the police officers' guns drawn?
Yes, they would have to be in order to shoot him, yes.
Right. But I'm assuming they knew it was an armed suspect. They would have their guns drawn on getting to the scene, obviously.
Yeah, I'll re-clarify. We came to a shots fired call of someone shot, so yes, we absolutely believe that there was a gun in play already.
Sure, okay. Any reason to believe...
Are you going to let them take turns or no?
I'm sorry.
You're just like stepping in front of them, and like everyone's being nice about it, and you're kind of getting aggressive.
My fault. Sorry about that.
And so what's next in this investigation?
So our officers have been placed on leave. Obviously, we need to look into the background of what happened, what led up to this, and see what took place. It's part of the investigation, and that's really all. We're at the very beginning stages of it.
Realistic timeline, just so we know not to bother you or when to bother you, in the sense of the 911 call. Do you think they'll come out today? If not, it's okay. We're just trying to, so I know.
I would say I'm shooting for hopefully having everything ready because there's so much between radio traffic, the videos, and making sure that you guys are getting the parts of the video that are acceptable to have. We have to blur some faces and things from witnesses and otherwise, but I'm hoping within 48 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then IDs, are you guys releasing IDs or are you waiting?
That is pending notification to the next of kin.
Okay, I think I'm good. Did y'all have anything else?
That's everything.
I think we're good.
Dan DeRosa with 19 News. We'll see if we can get our Brittany Weir to come in after this news conference. You've been watching an update on a deadly shooting with police involved in Alliance.
40 in the morning on a snow day for the rest of the city.
We'll wait for our Brittany Weir to get in, and she'll be able to fill in some details. Let's first of all show you exactly where we're talking about. Here's Cleveland. If you head south of Cleveland, you get to Akron, Canton, and you head kind of straight east from Canton, you get the community of Alliance, a small city there. And this is the apartment building in question. We'll even take you down to street level. It's a sizable apartment building. The shots were fired, and the call came in for shots fired on the 5th floor. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So not the top floor. It looks like kind of in the middle there, this area, 3 from the top. Police were called because there were shots fired in the building. And you heard the officer describing what happened. When police got there, they got on an elevator. There was apparently one of the residents on the elevator with police who was telling them where the shooting was happening at the end of the hallway. It appears to be a straight building. You get off the elevator, you either go left or right to the different apartments. And the officer described that this was at the very end of the hallway. As police get off the elevator, there are shots being fired. The woman that was shot was laying in the hallway, and that's when 2 of the officers from Alliance open fire. If they are responding to a shots fired call, someone saying another person has been shot, they're going to have their guns drawn already. As they get off the elevator, they're already hearing gunshots. And as they look down the hallway, there is a man with a gun firing shots. We heard from the officer in the description say that they do not believe that the man with the gun was firing at officers, but when they see someone firing a gun, a woman laying in the hospital or a woman laying in the hallway, that would give an officer basically a green light to fire. In that situation, Brittany Weir is joining us now. Brittany, I think I've been able to describe that situation. You've been there, you're on the ground there. Is that what we're hearing, is that this was, and they're not calling it a domestic situation yet, but a man who shot a woman, and police encountered as the shots are being fired, and so they fired their guns themselves.
Yes, Dan, I think you've done an excellent job of describing what we just heard. We just wrapped up that interview with police. Still an active scene here. As you can see, there are still a number of police officers on scene here and the crime unit, Ohio BCI. But a very scary situation that unfolded this morning. As you just heard, officers were responding for, shots fired. They get in the elevator, and then the second those elevator doors open, they're met with gunfire. Now, again, we don't know if the suspect was shooting at officers, if he was shooting down the hallway. We still don't have those answers, so a lot of questions, but a very scary scene that folded here this morning. Again, we do know that the victim and the suspect have both died. We don't know their relationship to each other. We don't know their ages or IDs. This is all stuff that will come out as that investigation continues. Again, this is still a very active scene, and once we learn more, we will bring you guys those updates.
Let's talk about the building itself. There clearly a lot of apartments in that unit. It was on lockdown for a while. Have you been able to talk to any of the residents? Did they hear this? Did they witness any of this happening?
We did speak to one neighbor off camera. They weren't able to be on camera at the moment. They told us they did hear the gunshots. They said they were terrified. Again, like I said, it's very scary here this morning. So those residents, they were on lockdown for a while. We have seen some residents be able to come in and out of the building since we got here about 30, 40 minutes ago. So it's not on full lockdown yet, but very terrifying for them as well. This is a large building. There's about 6 floors of apartments. From looking online, it looks like this is more of a senior geared apartment complex, but again, we don't have that 100% confirmed, but still a lot of residents that were here this morning, and you're waking up to the sounds of gunfire in the hallway.
Excellent. Brittany Weir for us down there in Alliance. We appreciate it. A lot of work to do to get ready for our 3 o'clock, so we're going to cut you loose. Thank you very much, Brittany. We appreciate it. We're going to wrap this up. Again, a very active situation. BCI now investigating, police and Alliance having to show up to an apartment building where shots were being fired, and as they got off the elevator, more shots fired. Unclear if those shots were directed at police or the woman that was laying in the hallway. So police opened fire on that shooter. Both the woman that had been shot by the suspect and the suspect himself, unfortunately, dead, pronounced dead right there in the hallway of that apartment building. Brittany Weir, obviously live in Alliance. She'll have an update for us when we start 3.5 hours of news on Channel 19 at 3 o'clock. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19. Have a good afternoon.